Let's go out on the video chat. And Eddie Steele, who is a champion, if you don't want to answer this, Eddie, don't. I've seen you wear your Grey Cup ring. So do you lock it up? Do you hide it? What do you do with it?
I keep both my Grey Cup ring and my Vanier Cup ring in my nightstand drawer next to my bed in the little cases that they came in.
Yeah, and of course locked up. I totally understand that. Eddie, how are things in Edmonton, by the way? We haven't had a chat from you for some time. How's the Steele family and how's you and yours?
We're all doing pretty good. Fortunately, I'm able to do some work from home during this crazy time. So it's pretty neat that I can be home and kind of embrace the time with my family, get to be more or less a full-time dad, raising my little guy. He's going to be 3 here coming up, and our daughter now is going to be 4 months coming up. So it's been pretty special. But I want to hijack this interview a little bit because
okay.
I reached out to you guys because I feel like I have to get something off my chest based off the little Twitter exchange that went on last week when Duron Carter tweeted out some things. So I've been really thinking about it, and I want to come at it from an intellectual standpoint. I don't want to just be some football player coming off his high horse, thinking I'm on a pedestal and just being total pro football. But I've read a lot of negative comments based off what Duron had said last week. And then you went on and you kind of doubled down talking about how being a football player is stressful. And you know what? It is stressful. And I'm going to start off by saying I respect all jobs. I respect people who work in every and any different industry, who goes out, grinds to provide for themselves, to provide for their families. And I'm coming at this from Eddie Steele's opinion. I feel like I have some solid ground to stand on because I played pro football for 9 years. I've seen it all. I've been through multiple contract negotiations. I've been cut. I've been injured. I've done everything essentially except get traded. So I feel like I have some things I want to say. And a lot of football players, the majority, you get to the pros because that was a dream and you grew up dreaming of being a pro football player. And a lot of these naysayers, the haters, the people who have comments, the fact is they don't have the cojones or the determination to go out and accomplish and live a dream. So they got to talk down on guys who are living their dreams and who express themselves. I don't always agree with Duron. He says some things that I don't agree with, but he says some things that are very accurate and very true, and a lot of people don't like to hear it. Now, his comment last week about being stressful and people laid off, timing probably wasn't the best because we are dealing with a difficult situation. But the fact of the matter is he's not lying, and being a football player is stressful. People sign multiple year contracts in football, but the reality is every contract is a day-to-day contract. People in their different occupations generally don't have to worry about getting cut. They don't have to worry about getting traded. There are no severance packages in football. If you're not a coach's guy, you don't have to worry about the next boss coming in and getting rid of you because he doesn't like you. Not a lot of occupations do you have to worry about being injured. I'm a believer, I'm a Christian, Rod. I prayed before every football game, and I didn't pray for wins. I didn't pray for good games. I prayed that I could make it out of a football game healthy. Not a lot of occupations do you show up life on the line for yourself and for your family to provide for each other. I can only think of a few being police officers, firemen, and of course right now got to give a shout out to the frontline healthcare workers because they're doing a fantastic job. So those are some of the small things that are incorporated into why football is such a stressful job. How about the fact that most occupations, not your every move is filmed. If you don't take a step 6 inches properly this way, they're not going to look to get someone in there who will do that. They're not going to look to bring in new guys. If you have a couple bad plays in a game, they're not going to look to replace you. If you have a bad day at work, for most people, you can go home, shake it off, nothing's going to change. But that's not the case in football. And a lot of people, I think, neglect that and they don't understand. They see a football player and a football game as an entertainment, which it is. People pay to come in and watch us play. But the reality is it's so much more than that. And there's actual lives at stake here and families, and it affects so many people. Now I'm done with football. I'm in a sales job, and sales can be highly stressful too. I'm sure most people know that. But I'll tell you what, doing what I do now, it's night and day, not even close to the stress levels that I had and that I carried around when I was playing pro football. I wouldn't have a couple bad plays in a game and lose a whole night's worth of sleep because I'm worried who's coach gonna bring in to replace me. I don't have to show up to work and see four new faces that do the same job I do looking to replace me. I don't have to think the minute I sign a contract, they're looking to replace you. They're looking to go younger. They're looking to go cheaper. And I've been on the whole spectrum. I've made a lot of money. I've made little money in some years. I've had a serious injury. I've been cut, like I said. So I feel like I can speak on this. So I just wanted to get that off my chest because I see a lot of these comments on Twitter, and it's crazy that people don't realize what football players actually put into it. And like I said, a lot of these people who are talking, they don't have the determination, the drive, or the cojones to go out and try and accomplish a dream. And the fact is, there's less than 1% of less than 1% of the population is a pro football player. So that's saying something. That's a special type of person, and people, they don't really realize that. Now, with all that, football has done a lot of good things for me in my life too, and I'm very appreciative of the game. It's allowed me to have a platform to go and speak to youth. It's allowed me to travel across Canada, see all major cities, build great relationships. But I don't miss the game of football one bit. I don't, now that I'm retired after playing for the past 17 years of my life. I miss the guys, I miss the relationships, I miss the jokes, but I don't miss eating double teams for a living. I don't miss the stresses that football has brought to me and the stresses that it's brought to my family. So I just wanted to get that off my chest, man. I've been thinking about it for a while, and like I said, I didn't want to come and offend people, but the reality is so many people speak without any knowledge of it, and this is someone who's lived it, the goods, the bads, and that's the truth of it. You know, I'm not making any of it up. How about the fact that I see a lot of people with contracts, and like I mentioned, I've been cut. And I was cut the day before I was due a bonus, an off-season bonus. People say, you're the one who signed the contract. Yeah, I signed the contract, but why wouldn't they cut me 3 weeks before? Why wouldn't they cut me a week before? Why did they wait to cut me less than 24 hours before I was due a bonus when I had a wife who was due to give birth in 2 weeks? And this isn't just a woe is me story. This is the reality for us football players. This is what we go through. I've heard stories, seen it happen to friends. I've had a buddy who gotten cut 20 minutes before the hour of midnight when his bonus was due the next day. They called him and they cut him. That ain't right. That ain't right at all. But yet people, they think that football players, this is what we sign up for. And yeah, to a degree, this is what we sign up for. But people don't realize the behind the scenes junk and the garbage that we do have to go through to be a football player. So that was my little rant, and sorry for hijacking, but man, that's why I wanted to get on the show, because I had to get off of that. I had to get that off of my chest, man.
Actually, Eddie, I appreciate it. And I want to just double down on a couple of those things, because some of these people that we've been arguing with since last week will never get it. But I think it's opened up the eyes of some people that they think that football players, it's just so much fun and it's money for nothing and chicks for free. And they don't understand the stress that's behind it. But more than anything is I've seen so many players and coaches just discarded over their career, and people just move on. And I'm talking about, it doesn't matter if it's some American rookie from Southeast Louisiana or it's Weston Dressler or Chris Getzlaff or John Chick. People just, they move on and they don't care. And then I've been discarded. I've been discarded a couple of times. It doesn't feel good. But all that it did for me was actually bring me in closer to those players and coaches. Like, oh yeah, it finally happened to you, huh? That was what I was getting a lot of. And you got to come out with a Humboldt Strong flag. Eddie, you did some really cool things. But I'm like you, I don't miss it either. It was awesome for a long time, but it's over. And that's why I kind of got what you guys were all saying. Fair?
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's the gist of it. And like you said, you can lead a horse to water. You can't make them drink it. People, they're always going to have their own opinions. And this is just my opinion because I lived it. And I read some things and it just makes me shake my head. Like I read a comment last week. A lady says, well, sign smarter. What does that mean, sign smarter? You explain that to me because I'm signing to try and provide for my family. And you know what? I'm a 9-year vet and I signed to the best of my capabilities. I know how contracts work. I know where the guaranteed money is. Yeah, you sign as smart as you can, but people, they don't get it. And I just had to get on here because there's a platform that you provided for me. And I just wanted to get that out there, man, from a true player's perspective.
That lady, by the way, that said that, she apologized and conceded defeat, by the way, to Duron and I on that. So I got to give her credit. She's in your town, Edmonton, by the way. Justin Pillardi is watching, and he's written in, Eddie. He says, former CFL kicker, for those that don't know, he says, Eddie just spoke a lot of truth there. Good dude, well-spoken. Happy to say we shared the 2010 CFL draft together when we both landed with the Ticats. Fist pound emoji.
Yes, sir.
So there you go, Eddie. A lot of people are going to see this. I appreciate it. We do have to break, so when we bring you back, we'll talk a little more football. But this was perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.